So welcome to this particular session. It's a free of charge session that we have today. And I would want us to use this opportunity, first of all, to lay down the agenda of the subject, to lay down the agenda for the subject. So what is the agenda? The agenda, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here is to really showcase what is expected of us in terms of this paper. And see, it's called the practical paper number 35. It's business and data analytics, and it's going to be a computer-based examination. It shall be required, all of you, to go with a laptop to KASNEB premises or any other approved center by KASNEB to go and tackle that exam, of course, in a computer environment. So there shall be no paperwork. You will not go to write any paper for this exam. This exam, everything will be about number crunching, and you're going to do the number crunching using what here? Your laptop. Your laptop. KASNEB does not provide any laptops. Like last semester, something crazy really happened. In most exam centers, students went to exam centers without a laptop, thinking that KASNEB was to provide those machines. Those students, in this case, of course, ladies and gentlemen, went home. They never did the exam because the rule is very clear. For KASNEB, they are going to give you an exam environment. Your computer will be connected to that exam environment. You're saying it's computer-based examination, and these guys expect you to study for 240 hours. The notional learning hours are 240. So 240, let's try counting. Like here at RCM, we teach you guys thrice a week. So that means 6 hours a week, 6 hours a week, 6 hours a week. So meaning that in a month, we're going to give you guys how many hours? 24, 6 times 4. 4. All right. And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, in 3 months, then that translates to 70-something hours. And yet KASNEB needs you to study for how many hours? 240. So if we're giving you 70 hours, could you kindly talk to me? If in classes here we are giving you 70 hours, who do you think will be required here to put in the 170 hours? That is a problem. Yes. That is a problem, yes. Because initially, we could do these 240 hours very easily because we used to teach for 6 months. Nowadays, we are teaching for 3 months. 3 months, ladies and gentlemen, are very few. We agree. All right. All right. But remember, globally, all over, nowadays, if you look at, for example, ACCA, actually, ACCA is even way ahead. These guys have brought 4 exams in a year. 4 exams in a year, meaning that the duration to study has been really squeezed. And with that squeeze, with that limited, with that limitation, then this has to be a war that we are going to fight with you. So it's KASNEB on one hand, and then on this other hand of our tug of war will be the student versus mwalimu. So I hope we shall be pulling this rope to towards the same direction. So mwalimu will put in, of course, we'll also increase the number of sessions. We shall strive to put in like 100 hours, but students will be able to put more hours than teachers. How do they do it? Like last semester, if we have any student in this case here who was in our last semester's BDA class, they'll tell you that those guys fought a war that I've never seen any class fight. I mean, these guys used to wake up at 4. The last semester's BDA was quite a different class. They used to wake up at 4. They used to have, in this case, discussions late night. They used to discuss, in this case here, all through over weekends. I even sympathize with the spouses of those students, assuming some of them were married. Because I'm so sure those spouses, must have gotten a raw deal over those 3 months. There were no outings, nothing. You see, that is KASNEB for you. KASNEB for you. All right? That they need you to put in so many hours, and that you've got no option. You must study, ladies and gentlemen. Fortunately, for the students who have just joined us here for BDA, BDA is going to be just one paper throughout. Like 𝒔𝒽𝗽 is here. 𝒔𝒽𝗽 was one of my students of BDA last semester. I know she'll pass. Maybe she just came here to say hi. All right. And she's saying there that they did what here? Sacrificed. So the same will be called of you, will be expected of you. You must come here. Of course, this is only one paper. This is only one paper, so you sacrifice. Every day you are saying about BDA, etc. Mimi na usingizi, imagine that one will pray against it. Fortunately here, you're not going to be tackling so many elephants. Of course, the other students like the AFM, AFR, last semester, they also did their best. These guys were waking up. They were doing quite a lot. But you see, unlike the BDA guys, you guys had many papers. You had many papers. High Navensi, you had many papers. So you were fighting in this case here with so many balls, juggling them. They were all up there in the air. And you're trying to catch this, you catch this. Once you catch it a little bit, you remember, hey, I've got LM to do. Hey, I've got this and this to do. So in this case, you used to jump about quite a lot. But at the end of the day, you guys would also pass. But as you come to this BDA, I would want you to put so much effort because, again, most of us here are poor in Excel. And that is why I introduced this course where you are supposed to do Excel. Students who did that Excel course for the 2 weeks, or rather for the 1 week been out there, they'll have an upper hand. The students who are joining us without having done that Excel, they'll struggle a little bit because those concepts you learn in that Excel will not be taught here. All right. Then the examiner expects to be using a lot of shortcuts. So I believe the students who have done that Excel now will be able. Hello. Again, hello. Hear Mwalimu, really? Are you guys able to hear Mwalimu? Then I think it's my microphone which has a problem. I'll not use it. I'll not use this microphone. It means that you will have to bear with my echoes. You'll have to bear with my echoes in the room and some noise that you may hear from outside, because you know these microphones, they're able to reduce that echo. But because it has refused to work, we will work with what we have. So what have we said? Given that most of us are very poor in Excel, we don't even use it at our workplaces. We don't use it at our workplaces. The sound is receding. All right, good English. How about now, Victoria? Are you not able to hear me, Victoria? It may not be perfect sound, the one that you guys are used to, because for some reason today I forgot my good headsets. Today, for some reasons, I forgot my good headsets. So I shall be able to use this computer, use the computer live like that, and everything will be okay. So then you guys have to work very hard. BDA is a good paper. It's a good paper. You have to work very hard. Now, allow me then to introduce the subject, ladies and gentlemen, here. So, recommended tools. What are we supposed to be knowing as we start this? We shall be using Excel, and then they are putting these R. How I wish they would also need students to be good in R. You know, R is an important software, but for the sake of a BDA, we shall only be relying on what here? On Excel. This course is aimed at enabling the candidate to use information technology to support decision-making through business analytics. The candidate is expected to demonstrate digital competency in preparation and analysis of financial statements. So we shall be required here to prepare financial statements in Excel. So we shall be required here to teach you some basic financial accounting that you did in the foundations level, what we used to call financial accounting. We must be good at forecasting, and then we have related areas in data analytics. Prerequisite: to attempt this paper, a candidate shall be required to have passed all other examination papers within the CPA qualification. So basically, it is an exit qualification. This is the paper that you do as you exit the CPA. After this paper, we shall only need you to do what we call workshops, which we do within a month, and then you'll be able to get your CPA K. You'll be able to get your CPA K. Candidates will be required to have core knowledge of quantitative techniques, some QT, financial accounting and reporting, and financial management. Candidates are also expected to have knowledge in their specialization areas of management accounting, audit, taxation, and public financial management. The paper will be attempted over 3 hours in a controlled, computerized environment, examination centers with computer laboratories, but of course they shall not give you computers. You shall be required to go to KASNEB examination centers with your own laptops. So what are the learning outcomes? A candidate who will be able to ace through this paper should be able to discuss fundamental aspects of big data and data analytics from the CRISP. CRISP basically stands for cross-industry standard process for data mining. Data mining is a key thing. We shall be required to teach you guys how to present data for purposes of visuals. Data visualization. Remember, human beings don't need a lot of words. Human beings would want graphs. It's easy to interpret graphs. And presenting financial data and the metrics using dashboards. Applied data, this is learning outcome 3. Learning outcome 3. Applied data analytics in financial management principles that include time value of money, all right? Evaluation of capital projects, like last semester they gave us, evaluation of capital projects using NPV approach. We shall also be required here to carry out sensitivity analysis, scenario analysis, and present this information in a dashboard, a summary. Planning outcome number 3. Apply data analytics in management accounting to estimate product costs, break-even analysis, budget preparation, sensitivity scenario analysis, and the flexible budgets. Apply data analytics in auditing techniques, including key financial trends, fraud detection, test of control, model reviews, and validation issues. Ladies and gentlemen, we have learning outcome number 5. Apply data analytics in auditing. No, apply data analytics in estimating tax payable and in public sector financial management. So public sector financial management, we shall be looking at basically the budgeting, variance analysis, etc. So the content, we shall be forced to teach you some quite little bit of Excel. They're calling it introduction to Excel, utilizing the keyboard shortcuts in Excel, like Control-C. We have in this case here Control-H. We have those shortcuts. We shall be able to teach them here. Conducting data analysis using the famous data tables, pivot tables, and other common functions, using advanced formulas and functions to enhance the functionality of financial models. You can see in this case, the Excel that they want us to teach you is quite little. And then we have introduction to the data analytics, the CRISP model. CRISP stands for cross-industry, standard process for data mining, framework for data analytics. So we have the data concepts, conceptual, logical, physical data models. We have stages in data life cycle. Ladies and gentlemen, just remember, you must have done this thing of life cycle for long. So even you as a human being, you have what we call a life cycle. If you remember that thing, so at some point, there'll be what we call birth or introduction of this human being to the world. From there, you give this guy a Cerelac. So there is growth. Will this guy grow forever? If he was to grow forever, if he grew forever, then there will be very many giants in this world. So after some point, there will be maturity. So you mature. It doesn't matter how Achieng you are beautiful today. Annette, Betty, Chow. Doesn't matter how fast you can walk on your heels today. At some point in time, you will have to bend. Quite a bad example. I know nobody likes that. After maturity, we expect a decline. We expect a decline. a decline. And then, of course, after decline, again, you can't keep on declining forever. When you hit, of course, in this world, we are given like 70 years. Given like 70 years to live in this world by the Bible, by God himself. But if you're lucky and do, for example, 90, 100, then you'll be very lucky. But at some point in time, there must be exit from this world. There's what we call death and withdrawal. The same case with our data. This data, there shall be birth of data into the world. There shall be what we call maturity, whatever growth like that. There will be like, for example, after this data has been used very well, using what we call Data Protection Act. This data must be disposed of nicely. Otherwise, you will get so many cases following you. So that we have good questions, Madam, they'll be able to come back, don't worry. So we have here stages in data life cycle, we're able to go through that. Then we have big data and data analytics, definition of big data. Then we have what we call the 5 V's of big data. I would want to throw this back to you. Is there anybody who can tell me what these 5 V's stand for? I'm so sure this could not be a very new, may not be a very new paper to most of us. The 5 V's of big data, what do they stand for? The 5 V's of big data. Thank you very much, Nabensi. Velocity. Velocity is one of them. Velocity is one of them. I love that. We have value. It can only be called big data if this data is going to create value for the organization. All right. So, for example, if I wanted to get all students' numbers who have done KASNEB, and I go and buy this data from KASNEB, I'm so sure they'll ask me to give them like 5 million Kenyan shillings. So I can only, in this case here, call that, of course, it's voluminous, big data. Once they give me, and then I start making calls to these guys, and then they start registering, then ladies and gentlemen, that will be a nice thing if I'm able to draw, if this becomes like a revenue stream, I'm able to get money out of that. Then they're talking of veracity. I love that. You know, when we talk of veracity, that reminds me of some lady I knew some time back who used to go by the name Felicity. Felicity. Felicity means what here? Pure. Pure. Right? People of integrity. Right? Clean. So veracity shall be looking at the veracity. This data, of course, for us to talk about it being valuable to us, it must exercise this principle of veracity. Shall be looking at it. Then we have variety. Yes. It can only be called big data if it's coming from many sources. If it is coming in terms of various, for example, we have data coming in form of text, data coming in form of numbers, etc., in form of images. Like when you get data from Facebook, that will be big data. I'm so happy to see that most of you happens to be knowing what we shall be doing here. So we have those 5 V's. We have those 5 V's. Ladies and gentlemen, then we have types of data analytics where they want us to give them, or rather make you guys understand what descriptive analytics is, what prescriptive analytics is, and what predictive. You see, predictive analytics is normally futuristic. You're able to use this big data. If it's KASNEB, for example, students who are passing in the past, we are able to get that information, and then we look at the numbers, and then we use it to predict. It becomes prescriptive analytics, ladies and gentlemen, even from the word prescription. If, for example, we are able to use whatever data that is through the descriptions like the mean, mode, averages, those things, standard deviations, if we're able to use that information to give a solution, to prescribe a solution, then we talk of what we call prescriptive analytics. So, for example, if today you have some fever, if you have some fever and then you walk here to Aga Khan, then what will happen? Those guys in this case, of course, would want to puncture you. I hate really those things. They want to puncture you a little bit there. They test your sugars. They test, in this case, your blood pressure and many, many, many things. So they collect information. They're harvesting information. Once they harvest this information, they take this information to the laboratory. So the laboratory will come in this case, and then they'll tell you, you know what, you're suffering from this and this. And then this guy now prescribes some drugs for you. All right. So that is what we call prescriptive. It's basically an extension of descriptive analytics, which basically it's all about like a hypothesis. We have in this case here, for example, students of RCM Online College. These guys, for example, they did exams. So we'd want in this case here to describe how aggressive these students are, how bright they are, so as to be able to get the minimum, for example, 78. The mode, which mark in this case here was scored highest. Maybe there were some 75s, like 20 of them. So it becomes the model value. So using those averages, then, or even measures of disparity, I'll be able to describe my sample, which I can now extend to what here, a population. So if that happens, then I'm looking at what we call descriptive. I'm looking at what we call descriptive. I'm looking at what we call descriptive statistics or analytics. So when you talk of predictive, that one is forward-looking, it's future-looking. We are looking at predictions into the future, what we expect. But prescriptive, you could be looking at what has happened. This guy is sickly. Now we are looking at a few things here, and then we prescribe a solution. So in the business, we shall be prescribing a solution. Great. And then we have, in this case here, tools for data analytics. So we have what we call the data cleaning tools. So data cleaning tools, we have the famous Alteryx, we have the C's, data stage, and then we have others. Very many, really. There are very, very many you can use to clean data. Ladies and gentlemen, just like any mining process, when you're mining gold, you can't mine gold, of course, from down there, and then you expect this gold to be very clean. It comes with a lot of mud, a lot of minerals, which are not to be part and parcel of the gold. So there must be some touch-ups here. There must be some cleaning of this data. So what are some of these tools that you can make use of, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, to come up with a clean data? So for example, assuming we are looking at weights, and Aura here happens to be among you guys. So in this case here, we pick 3 people. We have Amoth Apopa. We have Andrew Nyundo. We have, in this case here, Betty. We have Angeline. So we have like 5 people we want to study and come up with descriptive analytics. Describe, in this case here, for example, like how does the population of RCM students look like? All right. And then we are measuring these guys. The weight of, for example, Amoth Apopa. I know Amoth Apopa is an underweight. Amoth Apopa is like a Man U player. All right. This guy could be weighing like 50 kilograms. Then we have, in this case here, for example, Betty could be weighing like 58 kilograms. Then we have this guy called Andrew could be weighing like 60 kilograms. And then they come and take me to this sample. And here I am with 91 kilograms. You see now 91 becomes an outlier. These are figures that you would need to clean and remove it from the data. So then we have these systems like Alteryx. You see, Alteryx comes from the word alter. It helps you to alter data. You can change data. You can go there and cut columns. You can go there and cut what we call outliers, etc. How do you clean this data? So remove this guy who you think that really this guy may not even be a student here. Just like, for example, the other day when Mike back introduced free primary school for everybody, we had very old people going back to school, which was a very good thing. So if, for example, you wanted to know the weight of those students and describe how a class, like how heavy will you expect a class 3, group B. Then now you have Mbaba kama mimi. I mean, this is an outlier. Then Alteryx will be able to help you in this case here to do what here. The same case with these C's, the same case with data stage. So this is a very important concept that would really introduce us to a lot of what here, a lot of software. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have here data management. How do you manage the data that you have been able to do what here to collect? So we have the famous here, like SQL. We're looking at storage here. All right, database, storage here. We have the famous SQL. We have the famous Oracle. We have cloud computing. We have the famous Amazon, AWS, and then of course we have the Azure and others. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sure you guys follow politics. You follow politics a lot. And you must be among those people who are really looking at the Supreme Court ruling of the presidential whatever between Raila and now our president, William Ruto, Daktari. Now, IBC, they make use of SQL DB. It's called SQL. You don't pronounce it as a SQL. It's called SQL. So they use SQL DB. So in this case here, these guys were given very few hours to come and mine data. They mine data from this DB, the DB of what here somebody of IBC, and be able to say, hey, there are some Jose Camagos who went into this DB at this particular time, and they went into this DB 1,000 times, and they were able to alter things like that. How I wish those guys hired my farm. The farm that I work for is quite a huge farm. We are very big in databases. I'm so sure we would have discovered something. I don't believe that these guys really got a very good expert database management. So we shall be looking at this SQL, all right? The SQL. How in this case, of course, at your level, we don't get into a lot of, for example, coding. No. At our level, given that we are doing this thing at management level, ours is to have a general understanding of these softwares, so that when we are in a project, for example, our company is implementing like the SAP. You see, when we implement SAP is going to give us a lot of information from FICO, the finance costing module. Finance costing module. SAP is going to give us, for example, a lot of data from the manufacturing module. We have the CRM, customer relationship management module. Customers are complaining, so you're going to get a lot of data from SAP. So a good finance director should be able to ask this SAP people, when we get this information, where shall we store it? So they should be able to tell you, for example, the very best storage DB. We use, for example, Amazon. Amazon is so popular because you see, Amazon DBs will never be down, because Amazon will tell you that they have got clouds. Like when they take, even if it's your website, when they take your website, they're able to store this website, for example, in 7 different clouds in different regions. So anytime you have some downtime in one cloud, there must be another cloud that can come and do what you support. All right. So don't get worried that we're going to start coding here, Python things. It is, this is a fun paper. It's going to expose us basically overall, what are we supposed to understand? Okay, then we have a report visualization, very, very important subtopic here, of which they would want us to use the famous Excel in terms of coming up with reports, visualizations, the graphs. Then we have the Power BI, very, very powerful thing. Power Business Intelligence. Then we have W, you don't call it table, W. We have the MicroStrategy, and then we have others. Let me look at the charts. All right. So Lois anasema mwalimu, unataka kufungua server. I wish they can give us this opportunity. We will easily tell, but of course, me, I'd be interested in knowing. I mean, I don't really care who is my leader. No, I don't care who is my leader. So actually, if you look at countries that are doing very well, right now globally, given this global recession, are countries with monarchies, countries with kings and queens, all right, where decision making is very, very fast. Like now we have Dubai. Dubai is a monarchy. So a ruler comes and says, hey, you know what? I want this to happen. Things there are really happening. So data visualization, very, very important. Then we have 2.4. Data visualization in Excel, they would want us to do the definitions, benefits, types of visualization, comparisons, qualities of good visualization, like that. So the core applications, financial reporting and accounting, they want us to show you guys how to prepare financial statements. how to analyze these financial statements using ratios, the common size statements that you did in your financial reporting intermediate level, trend and cross-sectional analysis, graphs and charts. They want us to prepare, to show you guys how to prepare forecasted financial statements under specified assumptions, carry out sensitivity analysis and scenario analysis. Then again, they're repeating here, data visualization and dashboards. And then we go to financial management, where they want us to show you how to discount the time value of money. They want to show you how to carry out loan amortization. Then we have project evaluation techniques, NPV, etc. Then we should be able to show you how to carry out sensitivity analysis. Data visualization and dashboards are big thing. Application of data analytics in specialized areas. How do we handle management accounting, things like budgets in Excel? All right. Regression analysis, break-even analysis, auditing. We shall be able to show you how to do the three-way order matching, fraud detection, test of controls, etc. taxation. Then how do you compute tax payable for individuals and companies? This will really help you guys in terms of tax planning. Prepare wear and tear deduction schedules, analyze public sector financial statements using analytical tools, budget preparation analysis, including variances, analysis of both public debt and revenue in both county and national governments. And then we have data visualization reporting in the public sector. Great. Emerging issues in data analytics, skepticism and the challenges in data analytics. You can't just go and get data and then you want to start relying on it. You have to be skeptical. Skepticism is about having a question in mind. It's about, in this case, you're doubting everything you're told. Ethical issues in data analysis, you can't. For example, for those of you who are doing masters and you will be going, for example, to do what we call PhDs. Of course, you know we have what we call an ethical committee, the university, right? What is the role of the ethical committee? Data protection. So you come and, for example, do a topic. For example, you would go and say that I would want to do research on my company, maybe human resource aspects on my company. Take that to the research committee, ethical committee. Those guys will be able to ask you so many questions, all right? Especially if it's a university that is, you know, here in Kenya, people just do things like this and they get away with a lot of ethical questions, which is very bad. Because now I'm doing, for example, research of my company, top of RCM, and maybe I'm an employee. So this, first of all, I have to get consent from the directors of RCM, all right? The data that I'll be getting from RCM, how will I be able, you know, this data will be uploaded somewhere. Perhaps a university is going to upload this information on their archives. They don't also want to get into cases. Anybody who is going to publish should be able to see, in terms of ethics, the data protection. I mean, what are you putting in place? The people will be interviewing. How will you handle? First of all, have you gotten consent from them? So the same case here, it's an emerging issue. We have seen, like now, since they brought this Data Protection Act in Kenya just the other year, already we have got people who believe in suing. People have taken serious companies to court. So in terms of this data that we're going to be mining, then we must be able to know, ladies and gentlemen, how do we really handle this ethically? So that should somebody start taking us to court, suing us, then we shall be able to have some fallback position. Great. Then we'll be looking at the performance, limitations with these analytic tools, and that now marks the end of what year? My presentation of the course outline. The course outline. So before I continue now and make an introduction of the subject, could you kindly, in this case here, ask questions? As you ask your questions, our reading materials, we shall purely depend on the notes which are in our learning management system. We shall be able to give you access to our learning management system, which has got notes 100% from the beginning to the end. And then, of course, that learning management system has got videos for previous semesters from the beginning to the end again. So I would expect, especially if you're not very good in Excel, you need to get into those videos, watch them before we meet. If possible, please create time. we've said this particular paper needs a lot of sacrifice. When you are here, just know that it's like you are pursuing a priesthood. Somebody pursuing priesthood, those guys, they really put a lot of time to whatever that they do. Because again, we don't want you guys to repeat. There are so many changes that KASNEB is bringing on the table. The 10-year rule, so many things. We want you to pass. And when you are studying, by the way, we'll put in the work. Thank you very much, Martin. When you are studying, by the way, on top of you studying for yourself, please know that you're also studying for me. What do you mean, Mwalimu? After these elections of Chairman ISPAC, this Mwalimu will be vying for chairmanship of ISPAC in 2025. And by then, I would expect all of you guys to have been members of ISPAC, and then you vote for me, because I know the balls to touch to be able to make this profession a great profession. Just like, for example, those guys who are working in the government. You know, like, for example, when an engineer passes by and says, I'm an engineer, they are respected. That is how CPA should be. There is no reason why you will get a lawyer, being paid non-practicing allowance, and then an accountant is not paid. It's paid nothing. No, that's something we have to refuse. There's discrimination there. All right. There are many things that really are to happen for accountants, in this case here, to benefit. For example, most of you here, you are senior in your offices, and yet you are not accountants. Is that fair? Please open up. Is that fair? Is that fair? Yeah, okay, not fair at all. There are some positions that should be reserved for ISPAC members. Like, there is no way you can tell me that you are supposed to be a director of finance, really, without ISPAC license. There are so many quacks who are practicing outside here. Like, you'll get, for example, like the tax filing, like a cyber cafe owner. A cyber cafe owner, for example, ladies and gentlemen, being a tax agent. That is very unfair. That is very unfair. That's not how you snatch jobs from accountants. It has a lot of improvements to do. It has a lot of improvements to do. It has a lot of improvements in this case here to do. The chairman that I'm supporting for now is Kakai, of course, because I was the MC also. I was the MC in his event, and would want to support him really to make ISPAC great. I don't know whether he has the energy, but he's a serious guy. We believe he'll be able to set grounds for Mwalimu here. So as you study, know that you're also studying to become a member of ISPAC, so they can vote for me. And that is why I'll also be able to devote lots of my time to teach you guys. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please listen and listen to me very well. As you come on the table, there are things that I would want you guys to be knowing. Great things. Which countries, for example, have been able to use these data analytics to become great? Which companies? Which countries? Like, look at a country called Dubai, UAE. UAE in 2017, even before COVID, the ruler there, the king there, out of his own research and his own imaginations about the future, sat down and said, hey, you guys, you have 29 ministries as we speak. We must introduce a new ministry. So they introduced a new ministry called Artificial Intelligence Ministry. So Dubai, they have 30 ministries, and one of those ministries that are doing very well is what we call the Artificial Intelligence Ministry. And it does quite a lot. If you look at, for example, Dubai, you know, like now their payment system is very good. And that is why those guys are able to prosper quite a lot. If, for example, you don't have money in Dubai, you can come to RCM College and say, RCM College, please sell to me this thing. In Dubai, people will not deny you. People will give you credit. Because what we'll do, they'll tell you, give us a post-dated check even for 6 months. Once you give us a PD check for even 6 months, I'll simply take that check, put it on a scanner. And once I put on a scanner, automatically the credit history of your company will come up. So meaning that already these guys have mined a lot of data. They have mined a lot of data. Then they do mining every day. If you allow me, I'll be able to show you something very nice here. If you allow me 1 minute about this Dubai, how they're using data analytics, and why I would want my students in this case here to become data analysts. Look at, for example, we have what we call the Dubai Statistics Center. Dubai Statistics Center. Dubai Statistics Center, or that one. Dubai Statistics Center. These guys are mining data every day. Every statistics, every minute. And they are so serious with their work. As these Africans, ladies and gentlemen, we are just doing a lot of nothing here. Things are happening outside there. Things are happening outside there. It's opening, give it time. So like now you can see like the inflation. First of all, are you able to see my screen? Are you able to see my screen? Are you able to see my screen? Yes. So you can see it is government of Dubai with a signature up there. We have what we call Dubai Statistics Center. So they have the dashboards. Like now you can see inflation rate is at 4.67, quite low. Their gross domestic product is 2.81, and it changes by the minute. Like the population clock, there they are 3.62. When we come back, after I finish explaining, or rather finish even this particular class, ladies and gentlemen, we'll come back to you'll see their population has either increased or reduced because they capture their deaths and births immediately. And if you want to know about more about this, you simply go and click there. So we have the statistical dashboards here. We have about us. Who are we? Publications about Dubai. Do you want to contact us? Foreign trade, like now their foreign trade in terms of US dollars, we are looking at 722. What kind of business activities would you want to go and study there? Or rather start there? All right. Do you want something in education? They have done already that for you. So they are mining data every day. Every day, these guys are mining data, and now they're using data to make what it is. Remember that right now, data is the oil. You know, initially they used to tell us that oil will make you rich. No, now people are even going for solar, etc. Right now, data is the key. Anybody who knows how to make use of data will become very rich in the near future. We are moving from what we call capitalism, to what we call, you remember capitalism, where, for example, if you've got huge capital, you'll be able to invest in banks, you get interest. Now we are getting into what we call a knowledge economy. And this knowledge is spurred by data and the data analytics. People are able to analyze data. Having traveled heavily, even where I work, of course, I travel quite a lot. Whenever I look at our leaders here, how they talk, how they fight in between, I really sympathize for the youth. Because none of those guys, I can assure you, knows what should be happening. I'm sorry to say this because I'm so sure whenever I say this, I rub feathers in a wrong way. But trust you me, I mean, there is quite a lot that is supposed to be happening, but there is nothing at the end of the day. A country in this case here that is politicking from year 1 to year number 5. If you go outside there, like in Singapore, if you're a leader in Singapore today, and then you go out of your sunroof, you try even waving at people, you go home the same day. Because over there, things are working. If you go to the airport, you know, like Singapore airport, it is the only airport where they don't harass you at all. The immigrations will reach there. If you've ever been there, the first thing those guys will give you, they ask you, hi, chocolate. All right. And then you've got very beautiful butterflies all over. You can even stay in Singapore airport, for so long without even, if possible, you can even sleep there because the place is like a heaven on earth. All right. So things are working there. I know that those guys are brighter than us. It's because in Africa, we've gotten everything mixed up. Everything is mixed up. It's like people are fighting. All right. Look at Gabon. People are fighting. So in terms of data analytics, ladies and gentlemen, like I was trying to explain about this Dubai thing, Dubai is so serious. They're trying to enable businesses here to do business. So you've come to RCM, you want to borrow. How much do you want to borrow? For example, want to these particular goods worth 6 million, blah, 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 blah. We talk, give me just a PD. Once I scan your PD like this, post a check, then straight away I'll be able to know whether you're creditworthy or not. And once I take your check, the only thing I'll tell you is that, this check has got a possibility of also doing what here, bouncing. Is it possible we take an insurance against it? So I add some margin on top of what here, that price. And the insurance works wonders, And remember for them, because once you enter Dubai, remember these guys are tracking you. Remember Dubai, we have got more foreigners than nationals. Nationals are very few, they're about 3 million, you've seen there, about 3 million. But from outside, we have about 12 million there, people, right? So there's no way to be able to run away because of what your data mining. And data mining really there, you make them make decisions quite fast. If you go to Dubai today, now we are talking of what here? We are talking of an e-pharmacy, artificial intelligence pharmacy. They are using robotics because they have done their research and known that at the end of the day, people are wasting a lot of time in hospital. Like the other day I was sick and I went to this Aga Khan. Yeah. The doctor has seen me very well. Now they have told me, go and get your drug from the pharmacy. Imagine I ended staying in the pharmacy for 2 hours. And unfortunately, they're even putting, in this case, some coffee shop near the pharmacy. So you can be taking coffee as you wait. In Dubai, nothing. If that happens, actually, I don't know. That can't happen because in Dubai, you've been given, in this case here, I can even play this for you. So in Dubai, in this case here, there is a robot. So this robot is very strong. Once you go there, already by it seeing you, I don't know what it does, whether it is whatever, it has picked your prescription. This thing will run at the back, it gives you a drugs. Less than 5 minutes you've been served and you are out of the hospital. Right? Let me just try to get this and then I play it up for you. Or rather, because today is our very first class, I don't have to show you so many things. You can do those many things in our next class. So please, I'm so sure most of you could be leaders wherever you are, or you will become serious leaders. I wouldn't want to have a situation where I'm seeing my students really just making out of noise, empty debates. That reminds me that I went again, it's a story that I always keep on repeating. I went to this restaurant here in Parklands called Mwiko restaurant. So at the washrooms, you get 2 doors. One door is supposed to lead gentlemen into a washroom. Another one is supposed to lead ladies into a washroom. But they never wrote there like ladies and gentlemen. One door was written blah, B-L-A-H, blah. And then the other door was written blah, 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 blah. All right, blah, 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 blah. So me, I thought like the one that's written blah, blah, because I don't understood really very well. The one written blah, 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 shows that many things, this must be a gentleman. So they went there and people are screaming inside there. So in this case here, which one do you think in this case here belongs gentleman? Is it the one written blah or the one written blah, 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 blah? I was so wrong. I can see you guys are bright now. Okay. I was so wrong. You guys are very bright. Blah, 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 blah is for what here? Is for women. It's for women. But now when I came and told my madam that blah, 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 blah is for you, she was not happy. She told me, Mwalimu, never bring me back here. That is all they are thinking about women. But that's the meaning. That's the meaning. Is that true? Is that true? That when they use that kind of, I mean, you need to learn how to take life easy, isn't it? You need to learn how to take life easy. You guys, yeah, because of the blah blah blah. So kama sasa hii mama akiamka, unajua mama anaamka maybe kama 5 in the morning na anataka apige story, they should take a they should take a joke. Anataka apige story 5 and that is the time when mwalimu wants to sleep a little bit. So namwambia ama ni blah 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 blah. Hata ongea tena. So anyway, the thing that is there, ladies and gentlemen, we need really to know that now knowledge, data is king. Data is money. We use data to make what decisions. So many decisions have to be made. And if you're making data without decisions, then you are not analytical. You're not using what we call business data analytics. If you look at Dubai, the same Dubai, I love Dubai. Dubai will be my case study that I will be making reference about because I love that country, because things are working there. So Dubai, for example, you'll never see a traffic officer, traffic police officer on the roads. You see a traffic police officer on the roads. That is not Dubai. Dubai, everything is systemized, systematic. Systems are working there. So assuming, for example, you go there and you're knocking a vehicle which is ahead of you, you get involved in an accident. Then they have a very strong app. An app, once you get a license in Dubai, must download that app. It's one of the requirements. So if you get into an accident, what do they tell you? Pull that app. It is there. It has got a camera section. Take photos, 6 sides or 4 sides of your car. Because there should be 6 photos. The area which has lots of damage, you take now more photos there, 2 more photos. And then, of course, the other guy also gets out of his car and he does the same. Those apps are paired straight away because you're putting the number plate there. And then that AI, artificial intelligence, is able to come and tell you, hey, this car of yours is the one that is on the red. They give you what we call a red flag. The one that has been red carded is penalized there and then. And then the other one, of course, which is green carded now, which never had a mistake, will be paid, of course, through insurance. If you don't pay, if you don't have insurance, again, you pay in cash. If you happen to call a policeman, there is a place in that app where you call a policeman. You call the app and policemen will come running with their whatever, even ambulances. Because now they know it's a bad place. So they come there, the first thing they do in the app, give us $120. You pay them first because they want to discourage policemen. Policemen have got a lot of work to do. They should be serving Kenyans or those guys over there in other things, not on the road, because to them, anything on the road should be handled by what here? Artificial intelligence. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these guys use data mining in a very, so you see, like, for example, like this particular area right now, we have got a lot of jam. Using artificial intelligence, they should be able to say, open this section. Some vehicles are directed. Using those computers are 100%. So you're directed like that. So decisions are being made every day using what here? Artificial intelligence. Using analysis of what here? Analysis of data. Even how they provide their salaries through KPIs. Every employee, like every end of the week, you must say which KPIs, key performance indicators. So we are storing that data, we are mining that data. At the end of the year, we should be able to give bonuses which are performance-based. In Kenya here, bonuses, they are never performance-based. Bonuses are given at times using which criteria? How good you talk to your managers. Because you don't believe in mining data. Mining data. Is there anybody now who has a question? Anybody with a question? Anybody with a, please ask questions, please. Please ask questions. Please ask questions, please. Imagine now they're not asking any questions. Yeah, ni kama kufanya AFM and AFR on a laptop. Yes. But again, remember there is a theory part, which has got 20 marks, the multiple choice, where now you'll be required to discuss this kind of, not discuss, but I mean, you highlight the answer which is correct. But you must have this kind of information. Should we start with notes part or practical part? I'll give you all the notes. It's good we build up the case with a starting. I will follow this curriculum the way it is given. So they can build up a case for this subject. Great questions over there. Great questions over there. But this was a very carefully thought out paper by KASNEB, because it is giving us things that will be happening in the future. This is now where the world is going towards. Exam centers where we have BDA, we have, for example, KCA, we have KASNEB towers, we have Eldoret Polytechnic. They're really expanding them. They're expanding them. We shall not lack a place to do exams. They're expanding them. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will be your captain. I will be your captain for this particular journey, and I assure you of a good cruise, right? The only thing I would expect you to do is to participate heavily in these discussions without fearing anybody, because also you guys are not coming empty-handed. I'm sure you'll be able to do a lot of research before our classes. I'll be able to give you the outline like that. So the workshops, I'm going to talk about them, but most importantly, let's finish BDA. After finishing BDA within a month, go to do the workshop that will cost you 10,000. I don't want us to talk about them today. Today, let us restrict ourselves to whatever that really is for us, which is BDA. I'm quite privileged given that I work for a software company, so I know so much. So please try as much as possible to get maximum from this Mwalimu. Are there pre-recorded videos enough for those who can't attend live sessions? Yes, Said, the pre-recorded videos we have are more than enough. There are many. Like the students who are here with me last semester, they'll be able to tell you, we have all the videos. AMA or advanced taxation in BDA. You see, BDA, what normally happens, they give you questions from all these papers, but you can select from whichever subject. Like for the last 2-3 sittings, they have been giving us very easy questions from advanced MA. And you see advanced MA has got very few students who have done it. So they don't restrict you, like you can't answer a question from AMA if you have not done. They don't restrict us really. So when you are studying, you can't tell me that Mwalimu, me, I don't do auditing. Auditing is not that I do not attend classes. No, you have to attend all classes because you don't know which question will be easier. You don't know which question will be easier, right? Then, of course, they have questions on group consolidation, questions on financial ratio analysis, etc. So the ride will be very good. The only thing that I would really pray that you guys have to assist me, as God is assisting me, you guys have to assist me. BDA is basically our financier in this college. Like last semester, I'm so sure we must have taught. We normally teach about 75% of Kenya KASNEB students, BDA. So like last semester, we had about, I spoke of 4 some time back, but we must have had over 500 students last semester. So you guys have got quite a big task. Your task is that you have to market this Mwalimu. Yangu si bahatishi. I'm knowledgeable. You must market this Mwalimu aggressively to ensure that we are able to get these huge numbers. BDA session side, we have 3 sessions, live sessions in a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, same time. We shall be introducing early morning classes running from 5 a.m., which are different from these classes. So you'll be having two options here. You'll stick either with early morning or with what here? Night classes. You'll choose one of them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, not unless there is a very, very serious question, I would want to sign off. Because as usual, this is Dr. Joshua Aura. I'm now looking forward to meeting you guys live from day 1, which now will be tomorrow. Thank you very much. Good night. Bye-bye.